I welcome all the viewers to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. If you're interested in watching boring history in a new way, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you enjoy the video, don't forget to like and share it too. Relax now. Let your eyes drift closed gently, like petals folding at dusk. Let your breath slow, just a little more. In and out. Let your shoulders soften, your arms feel heavy, and your jaw unclenched. You are safe. You are warm. And the night welcomes you. The air around you is calm still. A breeze brushes across your cheeks, warm and dry, scented with ancient dust and jasmine. Far in the distance, you hear the quiet flow of a great river, the Nile, winding its eternal path beneath the stars. You feel a soft linen blanket draped across you. It's light, but comforting, woven like the ones that once covered the beds of pharaohs long ago. Imagine a fire beside you now, not too close, just far enough to flicker golden and warm. Its crackle dances with the breeze, and a faint trace of incense, maybe cinnamon, rises like a prayer into the starlit sky. You breathe it in, and slowly, you drift. Transition to narrative voiceover. Story begins. Our story tonight begins on the edge of the desert, where time and memory twist together like braided papyrus reeds. It is a place older than history, older than kings, older even than the stones of the pyramids that still rise beyond the sands. Tonight, we listen to the whispers buried beneath the sand, to the questions the wind never stops asking, and to the mysteries of ancient Egypt that no one has yet solved. Scene: the desert scholar's camp. Picture now a soft moon, full and pale, climbing over the red horizon. You sit near a small tent, somewhere between Luxor and the Valley of the Kings. A lantern sways gently above you, creaking softly. Inside the tent, a scholar unrolls a weathered scroll. She is old, with deep lines carved like riverbeds across her cheeks. Her voice is low, steady, like the Nile itself. She has studied Egypt her entire life, and yet she leans forward now and whispers to you, there are things no one has ever explained. You nod, and she begins her tale. Mystery 1. The Pyramid Code. Let me tell you about the pyramids, she says. As the lantern flickers, everyone thinks they understand them. But the truth is, we still don't know how they were built. She gestures to the sand. Some say tens of thousands of workers dragged stone blocks by hand. Some say pulleys. Others whisper of sound frequencies. And there are those, she leans in closer, who believe the knowledge came from the stars. The fire crackles, and for a moment, you feel the weight of those stones, monolithic, perfect, placed with a precision that modern machines still struggle to match. But more mysterious than the how is the why. Some hieroglyphs, she says slowly, don't match any known language. Some of the shafts in the Great Pyramid point to constellations that align only once every 26,000 years. You feel a cool hush settle around the camp, as though the wind, too, is listening. The pyramids, she tells you, may be more than tombs. They may be ancient memory machines, or sound chambers, or messages to something or someone beyond. You don't know what to believe, and yet, in your bones, you feel that strange pull, the mystery, lying just beneath your feet. Mystery 2. The Missing Queen. The scholar turns the scroll gently, and another mystery unfolds. Have you heard of Nefertiti? She asks. You nod. The name is familiar. Beautiful queen, wife of Akhenaten, mother of a lost dynasty. But her tomb, she whispers, has never been found. You picture vast underground tunnels, endless corridors, stretching like veins beneath the rock. Nefertiti vanished from records during the reign of her husband. Some say she died. Others say she ruled in secret, as a man. And then, the fire dims, just slightly. A gust brushes your tent flap open. The stars shimmer above like pieces of crushed glass, scattered across a dark cloth. Some even say she became Smenkhkare, mysterious pharaoh who reigned briefly, whose very existence is debated. You imagine her now, Nefertiti, her face, forever captured in sculpted stone, a woman of power, intelligence, beauty, and secrets. Some believe, the scholar adds, barely above a breath, that her tomb lies hidden behind a false wall in Tutankhamun's own chamber. She smiles gently, and others believe it will never be found, because she never died. Drift deeper, soft reassurance and breathing. You breathe in slowly, and let your thoughts float like lotus petals down the Nile. You're not trying to solve the mystery, only to listen, to rest, to drift. Breathe in, breathe out. Your fingers curl slightly in sleep, your limbs warm and loose. The breeze wraps around your ankles and knees, whispering lullabies in a tongue forgotten by time. The scholar tucks the scroll beside the fire and pours you a cup of warm hibiscus tea. You sip. The taste is sweet and strange, and slowly you feel yourself drawn deeper into the sands of time. It was uncovered, she says, in the 1930s, near Osha, buried deeper than the others, hidden behind layers of false passageways, decoy chambers, and trapstones. You imagine that Nausen falling away to reveal a smooth, cold stairway leading into pitch black. A single torch flickers at the bottom, casting long shadows against gold-leafed walls. The tomb was filled with strange hieroglyphs, not just words, but spirals, impossible creatures, and something else. A great serpent, carved over the entrance to the innermost chamber. But what baffled the archaeologists, she continues, is that no name was listed, no cartouche, no sign of a king, a queen, or a priest. She tilts her head, her voice drops. And yet the artifacts inside, a mask of solid obsidian, instruments made of meteoric iron, a mummy wrapped in linen so fine it hasn't unraveled in over 3,000 years. You feel the hairs on your arms rise slightly, but not from fear, from something older, something watching. The tomb had no record in any known dynasty, no match to any kingdom or timeline. She leans back and whispers, "It shouldn't exist." And then she closes her eyes for a moment, as though listening for something beneath the wind. Mystery 4. The soundless chamber. Her voice continues, even slower now, almost sleepy. "Now listen carefully. There is a chamber," she says, "beneath the Great Pyramid, a room with no echo." You blink slowly. The wind quiets. The fire sinks into embers. No matter what you say in that chamber, your voice does not return to you, not even a whisper. She looks at you. You could shout, and it would be as though the air swallowed your words. Archaeologists once believed it was a burial shaft, but there was no sarcophagus, no markings, no offerings, only stillness, and silence. They call it the Soundless Room. Some say it was used for rituals involving the breath, the soul, or even, she pauses, listening to the voice of the gods. You imagine standing in that space, cool stone beneath your feet, no sound, no echo, just your breath and your heart, thump, thump, and stillness. The scholar pulls her shawl closer. It is one of the oldest parts of the pyramid, but no one agrees on why it was built. You lean into the cushions, your body now heavier, your thoughts slower, as if drifting beneath a slow, wide river. The mysteries don't scare you, they soothe you. Their age, their silence, wraps around you like a blanket. Drift deeper, hypnotic cue. Feel the sands beneath you now. Not sharp or coarse, but soft, warm, like powdered stone beneath silk. Let your fingers relax. Let your mind wander. Breathe in deeply through the nose and let it out slowly through the mouth, as though your breath itself is an offering left at the steps of a forgotten shrine. The scholar pours water into a clay cup. The sound is slow, rhythmic, almost musical. Water, she says softly, was once believed to be the voice of the Nile god himself. You hear it dripping into the sand, one drop at a time, each one carrying you deeper and deeper into rest. Mystery 5. The Unfinished Star Temple. The last story, the scholar says. Her voice, almost a whisper now, is one even Egyptologists rarely speak of. She opens a leather-bound book, aged, dusty, pages like dried papyrus. A sketch inside shows a circle of stone, carved deep into the desert floor. A temple, unfinished, but vast. Beneath it, nothing. No foundation, no corridors, just the open desert, and this ring of mysterious carved pillars. But the strangest thing, she murmurs, is that every single pillar lines up perfectly with a star, even the ones no longer visible in our night sky. It was as though they were building it for a sky that only existed 10,000 years ago. You see it in your mind, a temple for the stars, but never finished, abandoned, in silence. Who built it? Why did they stop? She closes the book gently. The fire hisses. A wind picks up. You don't need the answers, she says softly. Only the dream. End of part 2. Drift into hypnotic restfulness. The wind returns, waving through the reeds by the Nile, carrying with it stories, unsolved, unwritten, and eternal. The scholar smiles, eyes closed, and you, wrapped in warmth and ancient night, let your mind drift into sleep. And deeper still. She reaches into a small chest at her sideward, carved with tiny falcons. Wrapped in cloth, she reveals a stone, smooth, obsidian, dark as midnight, but as she holds it in the moonlight, it glistens, as though damp, as though weeping. This was found beneath a collapsed tomb near Abu Simbel, she says. No inscriptions, no known origin. But when the moon is full, she turns it slowly in her hand. A single drop of moisture slides across its polished surface. Despite the desert heat, it sweats. She whispers, without water, without cause, as though mourning. You blink slowly. Is it real? A trick of temperature? Condensation? No one knows, she says. It has been tested, Wade, but no answer ever came. And then she tells you something softer. Some locals believe the stone holds a soul, that it came from a time before Egypt had pharaohs, when the gods themselves still walked. She sets the stone down gently, with reverence. You watch it glisten in the firelight. You feel no fear, only awe. A single stone, older than memory, that remembers everything. Mystery 7. The shadow without a name. She draws closer now, the firelight soft on her skin. This next mystery, she hesitates, is spoken of only in whispers. She pulls another scroll from her satchel. This one's sealed, old, the edges cracked like dry leaves. It unrolls with a sigh. You see drawings, but they don't match the style of Egyptian art. Not exactly. Too tall, too thin, eyes too wide, hands not quite right. They called it the Nameless One, she says. It appears in just 4 tombs, only in the far south. Always hidden, never labeled. In each tomb, it's shown the same way, standing in the background, behind the gods, behind the kings, watching. And in each depiction, she lowers her voice. Even further, the artist scratched out its face. No hieroglyphs explain it, no texts mention it, but there it is, always near power, never acknowledged. A few believe it was a forgotten deity, others think it was a warning, or a memory, that should have been erased. You stare into the drawing, its shape is simple, yet your breath catches slightly in your chest, not from fear, from wonder. What could have been so important, and yet so erased? The desert offers no answer, only silence. Rest cue, gently floating. Drift, let yourself soften now. Let the story wrap around you, like linen soaked in cedar oil. Float between the stars and the sand. You are not here to know the answers, only to wander, gently, through the dreams of history. The fire has faded now to quiet embers. You hear only the wind, and the steady hush of the Nile, far off. Like breathing, the scholar gathers her scrolls slowly, her movements soft and practiced. The desert is not empty, she whispers, it only hides well, and you feel that truth settle in your bones. You are lying in the heart of a timeless world, held by earth and story, watched by stars that have burned for thousands of years. Mystery 8. The Pharaoh's second heart before you sleep. She says, one last tale. She takes from her pouch a small amulet, shaped like a scarab, carved from lapis, with a faint golden line through its center. In one tomb, that of Pharaoh Jedkir, 2 hearts were found. You blink, eyes half closed. One in his chest, and another in a hidden urn, preserved, as though alive. Science could not explain it. DNA tests inconclusive. No records mentioned it. And stranger still, she says slowly, the urn was warm when found. Warm, in a chamber that had been sealed for over 3,000 years. You feel your heartbeat now, soft, steady, curious. Some believe it was symbolic, others that it was a fragment of the soul, that Jedkir prepared 2 hearts, one for death, and one to return. The wind sighs, the desert breathes, the amulet glints once in the firelight, and then stillness. End of part 3. Dreamlike descent into deeper rest. The scholar places everything away. Her movements are gentle, as though tucking a child into bed. You close your eyes. Around you, mysteries drift like sand in the wind. Not frightening, not loud, just eternal, and waiting for dreamers, like you. And slowly, you sleep. She unrolls a silk-wrapped bundle. Inside is a replica polished disc of crystal. It shines even in darkness. This was found near the temple of Hathor at Dendera. Some call it a mirror, others a lens. You look closer. The surface shimmers, but not like a normal reflection. Instead, it seems to shift, like water, revealing not your face, but distant lights, as if it's remembering stars no longer visible. Some believe it was a star map, she explains softly, but others think it was used to speak to the heavens. The temple ceiling, the Dendera zodiac, is famous, covered in stars, planetary symbols, and unfamiliar signs. But beneath the temple, in a sealed chamber, this disc was found, alone, not bronze, not obsidian, a glass too pure for the time. Some say it wasn't made at all, it was given. Her voice becomes softer still. They say when held at the right angle, during the solstice, it doesn't show the sky above, but the one below. You blink slowly. What does that mean? A mirror to a sky beneath the earth, and you drift for a moment, wondering about other skies, other stars, other truths. Mystery 10. The Temple of the Breathless. Far to the west, the scholar continues, beyond the reach of common maps, is a ruin few have seen. You picture it now, crumbling pillars of red sandstone, buried by sandstorms, surrounded by silence, no tourists, no road, just emptiness, and carved at its entrance one symbol, a mouth, without breath. It has no name, she says. Locals call it the Temple of the Breathless. Inside, there are rooms small, circular, lined with smooth black walls, and when sound is made within them, nothing. It's beyond silence, she says gently. Voices die before they reach your ears. Even thought feels quieter. You picture standing there, inside the hush, your heartbeat the only sound in a space untouched for thousands of years. Some archaeologists who entered it reported dizziness, fainting. Others claimed visions. One journal long lost spoke of a presence, something that listens but never speaks. It may have been a place of initiation. The scholar whispers, a ritual of emptiness, a place where one gave up the self and became part of something larger. You shiver not from cold, but from the weight of mystery, not fear, just awe. The fire crackles once, then dies entirely, leaving only starlight and the slow pulse of memory. Sleep cue, deeper descent into tranquility. You feel so calm now, your breath like silk, your limbs loose and warm, your heart slow, content. Let the sand swirl softly in your mind. Let these riddles rock you, like the Nile rocks, the papyrus boats at dusk. You don't need to remember every detail, just float with the story. Feel its age wrap around you like a linen robe worn by the stars themselves. The scholar reaches into the sand and draws a spiral with one finger, and says, not every mystery is meant to be solved. Some are meant to be held. Mystery 11. The Chamber of Dreams. There is one last place, she whispers, known only by story, never yet found. The Chamber of Dreams, a hidden room, mentioned in a single broken text. It was said to lie beneath a sacred lake, in a temple that no longer exists. It was not built for the living, but for the dreamers. A place, she says, where priests would sleep for days, guided into sacred dreaming, and from their visions, the pharaohs made law. No one has found it, but signs point to Lake Morace, and a lost temple said to rest beneath its waters. They believed dreams, she murmurs, were not fictions, but messages, blueprints, maps of the soul. You feel your breath deepen, your mind slow. You imagine it, now floating in that chamber, surrounded by carvings of stars and serpents, resting in scented oils, your dreams, carrying you to other worlds. The scholar smiles, and maybe you're dreaming it now. End of part 4. Sleep has nearly come. The air grows cooler, the desert quiets. Even the wind seems to sleep. You are lying in the heart of the world's oldest story, and in this moment, you are part of it. Time slows, thought fades, and all that remains is the gentle rhythm of breath and dreams. There is a legend, she begins, of a road, not made of stone, but of gold. It was written once, in the diary of an explorer who vanished in the 1800s. He spoke of a tunnel near the step pyramid of Saqqara, one sealed by limestone, and behind it, a corridor unlike any ever seen. Every slab, he wrote, gleamed like hammered sunlight, smooth, seamless, and unaged by time. Some say it was built for the gods to walk. Others believe it was a ceremonial path, leading to a chamber never opened, a place where a voice once echoed not in words, but in music. No one has found it since, she says. No record exists, only fragments. but she shows you a rubbing taken from a forgotten pillar near Memphis, etched in worn stone, a single line of symbols, a bird, a wave, a rising sun, a spiral, and then a path of gold leading into the earth. The scholar closes her eyes. They say only those who dream purely may ever walk it. Mystery 13, the tomb that cannot be seen. And then, she says, her breath slowing, there is the tomb that hides not behind walls, but behind perception. She unwraps an old map, drawn with ink made from crushed berries and ochre, and X's, marked at a place near the western desert, but no satellite, no drone, no human eye has found anything there, because the tomb does not wish to be found. They call it the invisible tomb, she whispers. It is described in just one ancient myth spoken only in temple schools, a resting place for a pharaoh who turned away from power, and chose to hide not his body, but his name. In that myth, the gods granted him one final gift, to rest, unseen, beneath the gaze of every traveler. You picture it now, a burial site that can only be felt, not seen, not dug, just sensed, by those quiet enough to listen to the stillness in sand. Some believe it is a metaphor, she says softly. Others believe it's just very well hidden. She smiles faintly, and adds, or maybe you've passed it before, and had watched you walk by. Sleep cue, subconscious descent. Let your thoughts slow now. Your body is deeply relaxed. Your breath, a soft rhythm in the hush. You are no longer thinking, you are remembering. Something you've never seen, but always known. A golden hallway beneath the ground, a door that only opens when no one is watching. You drift lower into your pillow, as if falling, but softly, safely, like a feather caught in moonlight. You don't need to solve these mysteries. Just carry their glow in your dreams, like embers in a lamp deep beneath the sand. Mystery 14, the Hall of Forgotten Names. Long ago, the scholar says, there was a king who feared being remembered. Most pharaohs spent their lives building legacies, monuments, statues, stories carved into walls. But this one chose silence. He ordered every record of his name erased, his statues buried, his deeds scattered, and yet some say he built one final thing, a hall filled with empty cartouches, nameplates, never carved, stone after stone, ready to hold a name, but blank. They call it the Hall of Forgotten Names. You won't find it on maps, she says, but when the wind is still and the sand shifts just right, some say you can hear voices, names that were never spoken aloud, echoing like the soft clink of chisels in an empty tomb. You picture it now, an underground room with hundreds of blank slates, each one waiting, each one sacred in its silence. And suddenly you understand, some mysteries are not about what is lost, but about what was never meant to be found. Closing of Part 5, Warmth and Quiet. The scholar pulls her shawl closer around her shoulders. She glances toward the horizon, where dawn is still far away. You've heard many things tonight, she says, but the desert is endless. There will always be more stories. She stands slowly, her feet silent on the sand. Rest now, she says gently. Dream well, and may your mind travel safely through stars and shadows. And with that, she fades into the dark, as softly as the mysteries she carries, and you let go completely. Wrapped in ancient whispers and starlit calm. Asterisk, there was once a scroll, the scholar had told you, found in a priest's chamber beneath Karnak. It was written not in black, but in red, scribed onto papyrus using cinnabar, inka rare, mercury-based pigment reserved only for spells and warnings. But what made this scroll strange was not its words, it was how the words disappeared. Not all at once, she said, not like fire, not like erosion, but one symbol at a time, vanishing, backward. The last line would vanish first, then the one before it, and so on, as though the story was being untold. Scholars tried to preserve it, they copied what they could, but the more it was handled, the faster it faded. You picture it now, a glowing scroll, red with mystery, unraveling like a whispered memory in reverse. What was it hiding, or what was it protecting? Some believe it was a prophecy, others say a curse, and some whisper the ink did not vanish. It returned to wherever it came from, as if it was never meant to be read. Mystery 16, the bell that never rang. There is a bell, she once told you, cast in the early dynastic period, gold bronze, perfectly shaped, balanced, beautiful. It was found in a collapsed temple near Aswan, inscribed with blessings from Hathor, the goddess of music, of love, of the heavens. And yet, it has never made a sound, not once, not when rung, not when struck, not even when dropped from great heights it refuses to sing. She whispered, no cracks, no damage, no visible flaw. Some tried to melt it, but the flame turned cold. Others, she said, believe it was not made to ring in this world, that its note can only be heard in dreams. You close your eyes now, and in that space behind sleep, you imagine hearing it, a pure tone, soft as moonlight, high as stars, echoing from a place you've never been. But somehow remember, the bell that never rang, but always waits. Sleep. Q. Becoming stillness. Let your breath be quiet now. Let your thoughts slow. You are no longer listening with ears, but with the bones of your heart. You feel stillness blooming like a lotus inside your chest. You are floating, not on water, but on time. You are part of the ancient hush, the silence between kings, the breath between dreams. The wind wraps around you now, like a scarf woven from cloud and stardust, and gently, you drift deeper. Mystery 17. The night-walking statue in a small village. The scholar once said, not far from Abydos, there is a statue of Anubis, the god of the dead. It's small, simple, carved from black sycamore wood, and every morning it is found facing a different direction. No one moves it, no one touches it. Locals have stopped trying. Sometimes it faces the door, sometimes the window, sometimes it faces the corner, as if listening to something no one else can hear. They've locked it in boxes, sealed it in clay. Still, it moves. It does not walk with legs, she said. It walks with memory. Some say it is drawn to grief. Others believe it is searching for something, a soul who has not yet passed. But the statue says nothing, only waits, only watches, only turns. And in its presence, even the wind does not breathe. Mystery 18. The tomb of two sons, far in the desert near El Kaga, she said. There is a ruin believed to be cursed, but not because of death, because of light. It is a small tomb, carved into sandstone, unadorned, empty, except for its ceiling. There etched into the rock are two suns, one our own, familiar, bright, the other, larger, dark, encircled by symbols no one can read. No one knows what it means, she whispered. Some say it's a lost myth, others think it was a memory of something once seen in the sky long before time was kept, and some believe it's a warning that one day the second sun will rise again, not as fire, but as silence. End of part 6. Tucked into time, the mysteries now settle over you, like sand falling into a golden urn. Soft, silent, sacred. The scholar is gone, her stories folded away in scrolls you cannot see, but you still feel her presence, like the warmth left by a hand on your shoulder. And you, wrapped in your blanket, in the desert of dreams, sink into the deepest part of night. No footsteps, no questions, only rest. There was once a library, the scholar had whispered before she disappeared, not made of papyrus, but of shadows. You imagine it now, a chamber beneath a ruined temple, its walls smooth and black, its shape circular and sloped, like an hourglass. No books, no scrolls, no shelves. But carved into the walls, shapes that change depending on the angle of light. If you hold a torch low, you see jackals. If you tilt the flame high, you see stars. And if you bring no flame at all, you see nothing. It was not meant to be read, she said. It was meant to be remembered. The carvings react only to fire made from specific oils, blended with lotus root and cedar. When burned, it casts a flicker that reveals stories long erased from all known tablets. A library for the dead, some say. A temple of lost memory, say others, but all agree. The stories written there were not made by hands, but by absence. Mystery 20. The map without a place in the vaults beneath Alexandria's fallen library. A single relic remains. Not a scroll, not a statue, but a copper tablet, with impossible accuracy. Not of Egypt, not of Earth, but of somewhere else. A map, the scholar had whispered, but with no known landform. Circular islands, winding rivers, a coastline shaped like a scorpion's tail, and symbols hundreds, none matching Egyptian, Sumerian, or Greek. It was found sealed inside a double-locked box, behind a wall that hadn't been touched for centuries. Some believe, she had said, that it is the map to the world before this one, a land lost not to war, but to memory. You picture it now, sailors steering reed boats across waters that don't exist anymore, carrying stories, secrets, songs. No one has decoded the map. It resists study. Its ink doesn't fade, its metal doesn't rust, and once a man who stared at it too long forgot his own name. They say the land it marks was not a place of people, but of dreams. Sleep Q. Weightless in time, let your body dissolve into the mattress. Feel your spine lengthen, your jaw slacken, your hands unfurl. You are a shape, no soft and floating, not quite flesh, not quite wind. Your breath echoes beneath your ribs, like wind through empty corridors. You're not falling, you're remembering. A library without books, a map without place, and you without time. Mystery 21. The door that faces the moon in the desert east of Amana. She once said, there is a flat wall of stone, nothing carved, no passage behind it, just a door. But only when the full moon rises does its outline become visible. Smooth edges, bronze hinges, a faint seam in the rock. When touched it hums, when stepped near it warms, but it does not open. Some believe it's symbolic, she said, a tribute to Thoth, god of the moon, but others believe that it opens inward, not into a tomb, not into a temple, but into a moment, a locked instant in time, waiting for the right moon, the right voice, the right dream, and maybe, just maybe, you're walking toward it now, through sleep, through starlight. Mystery 22. The language. With no sound there is one final tale, she had said softly, of a language never spoken, found on 3 clay shards, buried in ash near a collapsed granary, strange script fluid and looping, not carved, but impressed. Experts say it resembles no known writing, but when traced by hand, it makes you feel something, emotion, memory, color, music, as if the language was never meant for mouths, only for fingers and hearts. Some say it was used in rituals, a form of silent prayer. Others believe it was meant to be felt by those who had no voice to speak, but those who have touched it say it lingers, that the shapes stay on your skin even after you wash them away, and in dreams they return like song, without sound. Asterisk. There is one pyramid, the scholar had said softly, that no longer appears on any map, not because it collapsed, not because it eroded, but because it disappeared. It was known once, in only a single explorer's sketchbook, drawn in 1782, near the edge of the White Desert. A pyramid made not of limestone or granite, but dark, glimmering stone, black as wet feathers. 3 tiers, no capstone, and no entrance. He called it the Sleeping Pyramid. Locals refused to speak of it. Camels avoided it. At night, they said, it hummed, a low, deep tone, like a lullaby beneath the earth. And every full moon, they claimed, the sand around it shifted, as though it was breathing. The sketchbook disappeared a year later. The explorer vanished, and no trace of the pyramid was ever found again. But in 1999, a satellite photo taken by accident, trying to capture wind patterns, showed a shadow, perfectly triangular, in the exact spot, and then it vanished from the digital record. Some say the pyramid is alive. Some say it isn't built to hold the dead, but to dream on behalf of the living, and maybe you are lying beneath it now. Mystery 24. The mask. That watches, there was once a mask, she said, found beneath a ruined sculpture of Osiris. It was buried upside down, as if to hide its eyes. It was unlike any other burial mask, not gold, not wood, but ivory polished smooth, with inlaid stones that shimmered red and blue, like distant galaxies. Its face expressionless, but its gaze intense. They placed it in a museum, under glass, but each morning its angle had changed, first slightly, then more, until it was always facing the same thing, the person who last entered the room. It watches, she whispered, and those who meet its gaze for too long see things, not visions, not madness, just understanding, a kind of knowing, as though the mask doesn't see the face in front of it, but the life behind the eyes. Some believe it was once worn by a priest who was never buried. Others think the mask was not Egyptian at all, but came from far away, a gift, or a warning. No one knows, but it was eventually sealed, not because it was dangerous, but because it listened too well. That sometimes it whispered back, "Sleep Q." The slow pull of sleep. Let yourself drift again, deeper, as if carried not by wind, but by memory itself. You feel the edge of sleep now, soft and round, like the archway of a forgotten temple. There is no need to hold the stories too tightly. They are not pages in a book. They are sand, falling grain by grain through the hourglass of your dreaming. Your breath is slow, steady, sacred, and the mysteries wrap around you like linen soaked in myrrh and dusk. Mystery 25. The pillars that hum in the cliffs near the Valley of the Kings, she once said, are two pillars, not part of any temple, not carved with names, just standing. Each one is over 20 feet high, covered in faint grooves, but if you place your hand against them and close your eyes, they hum. Not always, not every hand, but those whose minds are still, whose thoughts are quiet. They feel the vibration, hear the tone, a song without sound, a message without language. Some say the pillars are tuning forks for the earth. Others believe they're not of this world at all, sentinels from before recorded time. And just a few, say if you press your ear to them during an eclipse, you'll hear your name, spoken by something very old. Something gentle and watching. Mystery 26. The oasis that wasn't there. There is a story, the scholar said, of an oasis that appears once every 100 years, near the edge of the Black Desert. It's spoken of by nomads, not written, only passed from tongue to tongue, camp to camp. A perfect pool, surrounded by flowering date palms, birdsong, stillness. But if you reach it, you'll find no water, no trees, just glass. Fine grains of green and blue, fused by some ancient heat, as if lightning once struck sand and froze a memory in its place. Some think it's a mirage, others a wound in time, and those who sleep near it report the same dream, a voice calling across water, saying only one thing: remember me. End of part 8. The hush before dawn. You are weightless now, unmoving, drifting within a story older than the wind. The mysteries do not press, they do not demand, they wait, they wrap around your slumber, like woven reeds in moonlit water. There is nothing more to do, nothing more to know, just rest, just drift. You are safe, you are held, and still, you are listening. There is a basin, the scholar once said, carved into the floor of a tomb that no one remembers building. It's made of pure hematite, a black stone polished so finely it reflects like water. But this mirror shows no face, not yours, not light, not even flame. Only one thing appears within it, a single man, in golden robes, wearing no crown, sitting beside the Nile. Some say it is a long-forgotten pharaoh. Others believe it is a version of the self, a mirror for the soul, not the skin. But what makes it strange is that the figure moves, not always, only when no one is watching. A flicker of gold, a hand raised, a blink. He is waiting, she whispered, but for what? No one knows. Some believe the mirror holds the soul of a king who never died, only fell asleep beneath the river, and dreams still. And sometimes, in moments between waking and sleep, you might catch a glint of that robe in your own reflection. Mystery 28. The sand that glows far out beyond the salt roads, where no stars shine and the desert folds in on itself. There lies a patch of sand that glows, not bright, not hot, but soft, pale blue, as though the moon poured itself into the earth. No one knows how it came to be. It stretches only a few meters, barely the size of a small courtyard, but when walked upon, the grains hum beneath your feet. They whisper, not in language, but in feeling. It's like stepping into a memory, the scholar said, but not your own. Some think it marks the site of a celestial fall, a comet that never burned. Others believe it was a ritual ground, where priests prayed not to gods, but to the stars themselves. And the strange thing, no matter how much of it you take in jars, in sacks, in glass tubes, it's always there the next morning, full again, as though it cannot be removed from its place, like the memory of a dream you weren't meant to keep. Sleep cue, eyes closed, ears open. Let your body stay still. Let your breath flow quietly. You are not moving now. You are becoming stillness. The quiet around you is full, not empty. You are wrapped in it, like linen dipped in oil, tucked carefully into the silence of night. Let these mysteries become your lullaby. You do not need to remember them. Only drift with them, float in them. Like a falcon riding warm wind above the Nile. Mystery 29. The garden beneath the tombs. Underneath the Valley of the Queens, she once told you, is said to lie. A garden, impossible, unfound, but whispered by workers and passed from hand to hand like old gold. a hidden oasis, planted not with crops or flowers, but with rare trees no longer seen, white acacia, black lotus, and blue papyrus, roots said to be fed by sacred water that never surfaces a buried stream, older than the Nile itself. The myth says this garden is tended by a figure in silence, not a god, not a priest, but a child who never grows, who walks barefoot among the roots, his hands covered in ink. No one knows who planted it, or how it thrives where no light reaches. But those who sleep near the tombs of the queens sometimes dream of birdsong, of shadowed leaves, of a place where death never entered, a garden of memory. Mystery 30. The sand that remembers names. There is one last tale, she had said, about a patch of earth that speaks only in footprints. Found in the bend of the Nile's oldest bend is a strip of ground where nothing ever grows, just flat, warm sand, ordinary to look at. Until someone walks across it. Their footprints remain for hours, even in wind, even in storms. But more than that, their name appears beside the print, not in ink, not in letters, but in form, as if the sand itself speaks the person's essence. No two prints look alike, and those who return a second time sometimes find their name changed, different, because you are never the same person twice. She whispered, some say the sand is blessed by Thoth, others believe it is cursed. But one thing is true, no photograph has ever captured the marks, only memory, only belief. And those who've walked across it never forget it, even in dreams. Asterisk, there is a carving, the scholar once told you, hidden on the ceiling of a half-buried temple, far to the south, where sand swallows whole cities. It is not large, not grand, just a single, perfect circle, carved not in relief, but into space. It is not painted, not inked, but glows faintly like moonlight on water. One can explain how. And what's stranger still, it cannot be touched. When your hand nears it, your fingers tingle, a coolness passes through you, and some say, you remember something you never knew. Those who study it say the circle may be a door, or a memory, or the mark left by time turning inward, but no one has ever seen it from the side, only directly beneath it, and from there, one sees not a circle, but an eye, watching, not judging, just knowing. And it is said, when you fall asleep beneath that ceiling, you do not dream of Egypt, you dream of before Egypt, before sand, before gods, before time had rules. Mystery 32. The final whisper. And there is one last mystery, which no scroll contains, no record holds, and yet every traveler eventually hears. It comes not from stone, not from wind, but from within, a whisper, soft and slow, that arrives just as your eyes begin to close. It says no words, and yet you understand. It does not answer, and yet you feel peace. Some say it is the voice of Egypt itself, not the land, but the spirit of every secret still buried beneath its sand. Others say it is your own soul, returning to a place it once belonged. This whisper comes only once, and when it does, you feel something shift in your chest, a memory of sunlight on stone, of music played by wind and red, of stories etched into your bones. And as you listen, you realize, you are not the visitor, you are the mystery, you are the echo, the breath between prayers, the footprint that stays in the sand after the body has long gone. Sleep Q, the final descent. Now rest, truly, fully. There are no more stories to chase, no more riddles to solve. You have walked the halls of shadow and gold, you have seen the faces behind the veil, you have become still, in the way only ancient things can be still. Let your breath slow even more, deeper, slower, lighter. You are no longer lying in your bed, you are resting beneath stars that burned over temples long since lost. You are being cradled in time. You are safe, you are remembered,